He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. Another Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break here on Volquest.com. And Grant, felt like a pretty businesslike 68-56 win for Tennessee tonight, and 12 points. And we were just talking about it. I don't know that it felt that close.
It felt like something they really needed. The way they started the game, 8 quick points, a couple turnovers forcing a Mississippi State timeout. That kind of extended the entire first half to play as well as they did in the first half. Only give up 16 points to be up 18 at halftime. After that kind of first half was big off of Saturday for Chaz to do it the way he did it, hitting 4 threes in his first 11 minutes. That's big. Like, you needed that kind of response after that kind of loss against a pretty good Mississippi State team.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State is good. They're 3-3 in the league right now.
Right.
But if you look at their schedule recently, they played at Auburn,
right.
Kentucky. Here, it's been a murderer's row. Ole Miss at home. Everybody in this league can cite something similar. But even for a 500 team in this league, I think they're pretty strong, and I think Chris Gans is a good coach. But I was really impressed. Tennessee just looked like a veteran team tonight that knew what they had to do. They came out this first half, and that was a great example of taking the scouting report to the game floor and executing defensively.
Which is what apparently they needed to do, because that was part of the problem at Vanderbilt, according to what Rick
said. Especially in the second half.
Right, after the game tonight was just details and scouting report, which is not something you really expect to hear in January when you haven't heard that all season. But it's something that happened. Maybe it was a little bit of a wake-up call. Tonight felt like the most put together 40 minutes of basketball, maybe except for that stretch right after halftime.
It felt early on like Tennessee. I thought Tennessee might blow them out.
Right.
Early on, it was so hard for Mississippi
State
to score.
It was the least you had to pay attention to a Tennessee basketball game in a while, because they just
you could just tell it was going to be hard for them to score.
Right.
They started 1 for 13, and even if Tennessee, heck, they didn't score 70, and it never felt like they were going to lose. We got to talk about the one section where it felt like it might be a ball game.
Yeah, the second half, that 8-0 start, and then what was it, to get it down to, I think, 7?
38-31, and then
it was 18 at
missed your
halftime.
Three-pointer.
Right, so you needed that, the Felix Okpara 3. Funny, we were actually just sitting there talking about that John Fulkerson one against Florida. Do you remember that?
I do remember.
Same spot on the floor. Shot clock ran out. He let it fly, and it went
Fulky.
in. That was huge, and you needed that response from there.
It was, Tennessee, I don't know that they were going to lose, but they were a little tight.
You have some nervous moments.
Yeah, and this team could, we've seen it. They can go and score in drives.
Right, especially with Josh Hubbard, especially with Cameron Matthews. Like, they know how to score the basketball.
And so, it was 7, and then boom, Felix hits the prayer, and, it's never single digits again.
And you really needed that kind of performance, that kind of answer, that kind of 40 minutes, because you're going to Auburn Saturday night, and then you're coming back home against Kentucky, and then you're coming back home against Florida. Like, that's what this stretch is, and Mississippi State was just kind of thrown in there after a frustrating loss.
The number 14 team in the country was the breather.
Right. You needed some kind of a little bit of a confidence booster, kind of get things back on track a little bit. Feels like that's what they did.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to make too much of it, but they took care of business tonight, and they were big favorites. But had gone the other way, if you're 3-3, Mississippi State's a good basketball team.
Right.
They're 4 games back or 3 games back in the loss column right now.
Right.
Auburn doesn't have a midweek game, so it's going to get staggered. But it's early, but it's time to start thinking that way. The way Auburn has started and kept pace even without Broome, you lose a game, you're backing up.
You don't want to be too close to Arkansas in the standings.
You do not. So Tennessee, I thought impressive. Not out of control, but impressive. Again, business-like is just what I keep coming back to, and setting the stage for a mammoth game on Saturday.
A huge one. Number one team in the country. Probably the best team in the country all season.
And one of the best home court advantages.
Right. Obviously, everybody's going to be looking for Johni Broome, and when he comes back, how long he's going to be out. He's been out 2 games, I think, since that ankle injury.
And they don't play this week. They
don't have a midweek game. College game day is going to be there. But it's a huge run right here. You better take care of home court like they did tonight.
Have to. In
this league, because these are the road games, like going to Auburn, going wherever they're going later in the season, Kentucky, Texas A&M, etc.
If you lose a game at home, it's almost like dropping 2.
Right.
I feel. Like Florida losing to Missouri, that's like a two-game setback.
Right, and taking care of home court means you got to beat Kentucky, you got to beat Florida, you got to beat a lot of good teams like Mississippi State.
Yep, and I don't remember when you talked about it. You could really see a team that's ranked in the top 10 playing on Thursday in Nashville.
Oh, for sure.
In the SEC tournament.
Think about Auburn's the best team in the conference. Seems like the best team in the country. They won by 3 points at South Carolina, and they had Broome for 25 minutes of that game.
Totally. Crazily. It's as good as advertised.
Right.
Tennessee staying alive.
Except for Arkansas.
Not as good as advertised. He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. This has been the Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break on Volquest.com.